Welcome back, everyone. We're here to give you all these secrets on how to win a CTF by more than 1,000 points. All the secrets are coming out tonight. We're dropping them like, I don't know, shadow brokers?
Snowden.
Snowden? Whatever it is, we're just going to be like, they're not going to be able to use these challenges anymore because we're toasted. But anyway, so CircleCityCon, oh, here we go. I don't want to be pretentious, but we might have won by a couple of points over second place.
Thanks to Nick.
Thanks to Nick. If it wasn't for Nick, we would have only won by 1,000. No, but seriously, actually, Nick solved 3 challenges that we were all like,
we don't know what
we were like completely clueless, and Nick's like, oh, I got this.
Another Russian Nick on you.
What's that?
I said another Russian Nick on you.
Yeah, that's right, the Mother Russian, Nick on you. Anyways, I don't know. We just want to go through some of these challenges. So CircleCityCon was this last weekend, and they had a bunch of different challenges that were worth a bunch of points. You know, anywhere from 100 points. I think the highest point total was like 400. By the time it was all said and done, of all, 22 some challenges or so, we solved all but one, and that one was only worth like 200 points, and nobody solved it. So we don't feel that bad. So we want to just go through some of these. Which ones do we want to start? Easy first?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you want to do ammonia, talk about ammonia?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Here's Brandon. He's going to talk about ammonia. I got your Python right here, buddy.
All right.
So, yeah, Nixon.
I can talk about it while you do that.
Yeah.
All right, so Boneyard was kind of an interesting challenge. It threw us for a loop for a little bit. So you were presented with this ciphertext. It didn't make sense. It was gibberish, right? And so the first thing that we did, as you do with any gibberish that you get in a CTF, is you look at Caesar cipher. So the most common format of Caesar cipher is ROT 13. So for those that don't know Caesar cipher, it's a pretty basic substitution algorithm in which your key is a letter of the alphabet. So your available keys are 0 to 25 or 1 to 26, depending on what programming language you like. And so like if my Caesar cipher key was 2 and I had an A, then I would just shift that 2 to the right, which makes my A a C. And so we threw that in right away, and we were like, well, ROT 13 didn't work, so let's just continue through these keys. So we did ROT 25, and the first line suddenly came up, and it was like, the flag is, well, sometimes it's that easy. And then we continued on to the next line, which ended up being ROT 24, and it was like, however, that was the next line. So it was like, the flag is, sometimes it's that easy, and the next line was, however. And then we continued down this path through ROT 23, and then it became something like more directions. There were like directions on how to solve the challenge. So what Tom is showing right now is solving that. So then now the second line you can see is however. The third line is replace the string inside the braces, right? So we continue down this path. And you continue down to the 11th line, which should be ROT, whatever, 26 minus 11, 14. So it just continues down, spell out the words of the final answer. So we get to -2, so go to ROT 15, yeah. So we start off with 6, and then you go 6 minus 2, and then you continue down as times 3. So it continues down this path. Yeah, so we continue down this and just wrote all of these math instructions into a notepad, and then we looked at them and said, okay, we start off with 6 minus 2 is 4 times 3 is 12. Continued on this path, and so we manually solved this problem. But after the fact, today I was like, well, someone asked, it's like, hey, do you guys have a programmatic method of solving this? And I was like, oh, that's like 15 minutes worth of Python to code up. And an hour and a half later, I had to solve, and my work wasn't completed at work. And so I created this Python script, which uses, there's this great Python library called PyCaesar, which is, so all the ROT stuff is a Caesar-based algorithm. You give it the key, and then it gives you the decrypted answer. So I wrote a Python script real quick, and in an hour and a half. So this is what it looks like. Can you make this look bigger?
It's big on the spell.
Is it big? No, that's not big. I can barely read that. Sweet.
Get better eyes.
Yeah. I do need better eyes, trust me. My trauma says so. Contest. Stat.
How's that? Is that big enough?
Yeah, I don't know, is that big enough?
Close.
You guys good? Alright, so I'm not, so I'm not gonna run through all this, but more or less I stole a whole bunch of code from Stack Overflow, which I gave credit to in the script. So Boneyard, right here, this array is a string in Python. And so this was all the encrypted code, ciphered code. And so at the bottom, I'm like, so this is kind of the heart of everything. This 4 lines in Boneyard split, so I split that big string on new lines. And I'm like, hey, if the key, so the first 10 lines are all just like instructions. So I ignore all of those, and so if it gets into the math part of things, then I do math lines append. So I shove the line into an array, and then this is all, you must not have the updated one where I actually source my stuff, but that's okay.
Oh, sorry.
So here I'm like, oh no, this is good. So this is stuff I wrote. So determine operation. So I actually use regex to, so these were the operations: minus, plus, increase by, divided by, subtracted from, times. And so I extract the operation, like what am I doing on these numbers? And then I extract the number, which I simply take the operation and remove it from the line. And then I do math. And so I pass in my starting number, which was 6 to start with on the first line, which is like down here, if math line count equals 1, then pass in the line. Otherwise, go determine the operation. Because the first line was just 6, right? So there's no operation on that. So I needed to pull out that initial value. So anyway, so this more or less solves the problem. So it takes the math, plus or increased by or times, divided by, subtracted from, and then just does that math. But we did find an error in here. So the word subtracted from is kind of an interesting statement, that when you take a really big number and subtract it from 93, well, you end up with a really big negative number. And so the solve to this solution is actually a really big negative number. It's like negative 3,580,000,000. And the solution, the flag was not a negative number. It was actually a positive number. So we actually found an error in there. But what's interesting is if you just, instead of subtracted from, you say 93 minus the value that you have, the value that you have minus 93, then you end up with that same number except for really positive. So if you can run this Python.
Yeah, I got it here.
Yeah, so this like, you guys want to talk about like easy button? Easy button.
You want?
Python that.
So I just typed those instructions to Wolfram Alpha and it does the natural language
Yeah,
processing.
so yeah, hey, man, so I was trying to find like the machine learning stuff that would like interpret my words into numbers and like the math.
Just post it to Wolfram Alpha.
Yeah.
API.
Wolfram Alpha, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like, it's a good solve. That, hey, if I would have thought about that, it would have saved me an hour and a half. And did you actually run that? Yeah. So if you run that, it's like Python
Post
there.
to API.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Hey,
Yeah.
next time you should play in the CTF. And so like, boom, there's your answer.
We don't claim that we're good at CTFs.
We're just too dumb to know when to stop.
What was the name of your script? What was it called?
Boneyard.py.
No.
Oh, that's not the name that I named it.
Tom's rude. So that's Boneyard. All right, questions?
So when you got the answer, what made you think to actually write it out?
The direction said so.
Yeah. Said to use
Yeah.
words.
So like the first 10 lines were all the directions, and it's like, write out the answer as if it was given to you in this format, and then the answer is like, or as it continues, it's like 6 times 3.
So,
and it actually says like, use underscores instead of spaces,
so here's a ridiculous part. So how many points did we get? Anybody?
4,200.
4,200. Guess how much this one was worth?
100.
100 points.
Yeah.
So so this was the easy one.
Yeah, easy. All right, what else do we got? What are the challenges? So that's that challenge.
So that was our challenge.
So if you want to participate in a CTF and you don't know Caesar Cipher or the ROT stuff, go check that out. Like, it is the most basic thing that you can do. You will find it in every CTF that you play.
So let's do Fancy Pants. So Fancy Pants is a 200 pointer, right? Real easy, 200 points. Actually, this one was pretty easy. I got it quickly. So this is an APK. For those of you who don't know, APK is the file format that runs on like an Android phone, right? So this is an Android child's play, right? Like everybody knows it's written in Java, right? So it's going to be a Java thing, maybe. So here I got. Damn, man.
Tom, make it bigger all the time.
I I'm gonna make it bigger than the easy way. Oh, not that cloud, sorry, display.
I get emails about it all the
So I'm
time.
gonna make it, I don't think it, my scale it, 720p.
Ooh, yeah.
There, boy, that's
Blur
what I'm
that.
talking about. Is that big?
There you go.
Alright.
I still can't see it.
Oh, I'm gonna do this. It'll be great. Here, hold my.
You need the little holder like Billy Joel has for his harmonica.
Got Mike while I solve CTF.
Watch this. So I've got fancy new, right? Because I just, like, I'm gonna do this live because I don't remember how I did this, but, so it's nice because, like, so it's a jar file, right? Because of the Java archive, everybody knows that. So you uncompress it, and then you can do like, let's do this easy mode. All flags start with C4, TF, and all caps like that. You find on the dot, and then it's like, oh, I see, oh, manifest manifest matches, that's interesting, let's do a file on manifest, because that's usually a Java thing, like, talks about what it is. Hey, it's a SQLite 3x database, that's weird, I know SQLite, right? So SQLite manifest, we do SQLite 3, sorry about that. Right, that's schema, right? Because we're like, what is this thing? Oh, it's a always check files, like, what the heck is that? So always check files. Select star from always check files. Oh, look, CTF. Saving things in the APK is silly because you're going to find things. So there, 200 points, just like that, easy mode, done. Done. That's another 200 points. Woo! All right. Do you want to do
Russia?
You want to do Russia, or actually, do we want to do Debian?
What was Debian?
Oh, that was Debian. No, Debian files. I don't want to do that.
No.
Dancing, that's the one, dancing.
Oh, yeah, I'll do that.
You want to do dancing?
Yeah, I'll do
All right, here
dancing.
it is. The tail works in there.
So if I control that, or
So, do you want me to hold it for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. All right, so wait, can I play this video?
Yeah, I'm the next.
I want to play it.
Yeah.
All right, so first,
had to watch it, you do too.
yeah, so first we were
We had to
presented
watch it over
and over. It was ridiculous. All right, so who's familiar with Rickroll? Yeah, everyone knows Rickroll. Who's familiar with Ukrainian Rickroll? Yeah, yeah, definitely this thing. Hours and hours listening to that, looking for clues, all right? So this is the video that we were presented with. We were downloading this, and the only hint was we dug deep on the internet for this video. You'll have to dig deep for this flag. And so we're looking at, we're like, Ukraine, like, we're looking at the lyrics in English, we're looking at the words on the screen, we're like, there's gonna be a key
We're
here.
looking at all the comments on YouTube from 2
Oh,
months
yeah.
ago when they grabbed this file from YouTube. Yeah, go for it. Yeah,
All right,
access
so-
it, yeah.
We're just gonna
Three
record
fingers.
that?
Yeah.
I don't know how to three-finger that. I don't know Mac, I'm sorry, that wasn't like a weird thing.
So
That was also in our room when we started drinking Jack Daniels. 'cause
Yeah,
it was
so we're all like jamming out to that video, we got like a Bluetooth speaker playing it. There's like 40 of us in this room jamming out to that Rickroll. So we're like,
Ukrainian.
yeah, so it's from like so we started doing research in that video, right? That's a 2007 entry into Eurovision, which is a music contest in Europe, and that was the Ukrainian entrance into that was their music video that they entered into the competition. Ended up getting second place in 2007. And so then we started looking at like who the author was of the song, and there's a whole like controversy about who actually wrote the song, and later in many years someone else actually wrote the song. There's a whole bunch of crap, right? So we're like trying to investigate this music video, thinking that the solve was a clue was inside the music video itself. Well, in reality, we needed to take a look at our forensics. And so we run XF tools, and there's this whole little comment in there that says, hey, video is recorded by Pego.tv, which when you go to Pego.tv is a website that will freely convert your YouTube videos into an MP4 that you can download. So, do you have that downloaded, by the way?
No.
So that's how I solved it, right? So like.
Oh, I don't have that. I don't have it.
All right. So what I did was I went to Pego.tv and I downloaded my own version of that file. And so I used the same tool that they did. I downloaded my version, and then I ran a diff between the two files. So the first diff between the two files was like the timestamp in the file. So there's like recorded from, and is the date and time of when I recorded it, etc. And at the very end of the file, when I ran a diff, so it actually took me like a long time looking through this diff, and I had to look at it a second time. And I noticed that at the very end of the file, there's a big difference between the file that I downloaded and the file that they provided us. So if we tail the last little bit of the file, and we pump it out into a hex dump, XXD, one of the values that caught my eye was this 7ZXE. There's a gold star if anyone knows what 7ZXE is. Go for it.
7-zip header.
7-zip header. All right, you get a ThoughtCon shirt for that. That's a gold star, all right? So we're like, hey, there is a compressed archive at the tail end of this. So let's go get that. So we, 7Z, so we take those bytes and we extract them out, and we're left with a 7-zip file, if Tom can get it. So inside the 7-zip file, we have a flag. And so this took us like literally hours of listening to this video and pursuing alternative methodologies before we were like, holy shit, there's something at the end of the file. And so there it is.
For 200 points. Yeah!
Yeah, thank you. Yeah! All right, so that was a good solve, right? So keep in mind that what you see isn't necessarily the entire problem. You have to dig deeper, right? That was their hint, let's dig deeper. And at the end of the file, there it was. So, all right, so we're going to go to this other category called fish. And so we were presented with this text file. Yeah, so if you pull up my Excel. So I'll tell you, I didn't realize how useful Excel was for Capture the Flag contest until I started working on CircleCityCon CTFs. And these guys love problems that can be solved through Excel. It's pretty good. Yeah, they're right there. Love. All right.
What is
So-
love? Baby, don't hurt me.
Baby, don't hurt me.
No more.
That's it. I don't even know that song. So apparently, what song did we decide that was? Not Forfeiture.
It was Foreigner.
Foreigner.
Yeah. We gotta play the song. If we have
So
this
we also
song, we
listened
have
to this song, right? Because we thought we were being trolled. We were like, hey, what is I forget what the clue was. Yeah, the clue was like it said something I want to know, and so then we of course started looking at the lyrics of this song. Ads.
Not having ad block.
Yeah. Why do you have ad block?
It's Safari.
What is going on here?
You have to pick an account.
Anyway, so we spent a whole bunch of time pursuing things that didn't work. As you
What
can
OS
see.
version are you on?
Right? So Tom
Are you
and I
running
were
like
sitting down in the lobby.
10.9?
There we go.
There we go.
Beautiful. Not money.
If you look at the bars, so you can see he's running like 10.8 or something.
Yeah.
Maybe 10.9.
I can't tell that.
Hey, it's fully patched.
You guys might not
I
want to
can't.
talk.
I used to.
Alright, I wanna know what.
Alright, yeah. So we were like sitting around in a hotel room listening to this because Colin thought that this was the solve. Colin, where you at, bro? I don't know how Colin knows this song, but he knows the song. He's way too young to know the song. So what we were presented with,
Right here.
yeah, go to the Excel. There you go. Yeah, so what we were presented with was a series of numbers. And so finally, after Colin told us about the song and we all had way too much to drink, we started singing it together, we all went back to our rooms, and the next morning I was like, what in the hell is this? I started looking and I'm like, okay, it ends with 625. Does anyone know what the square root of 625 is?
25, you're right.
25. So I'm like, all right, 25 by 25. What do I know that makes 25 by 25? Next step. So I created this spreadsheet of a 25 by 25 solve here. And I actually used a math to do this because I wasn't going to type in all of this. And then I created a sheet that had all of the numbers that were provided to us. And then I did a VLOOKUP and I used conditional formatting to color the numbers that were in there. Now, does anyone know what this makes?
A QR code.
QR code, give that man a beer. And so we go to solve, and we have a QR code. And so 2 conditional formattings, one to color it black and one to color my text
Get that
white,
back
so
up
that way I
there.
didn't have the numbers in the cells. And we're left with a QR code that goes to a URL, which I was complaining to Tom all the time. I was like, stop sharing URLs, or stop sharing QR codes via URLs, man. But as it turns out, it was actually, that was the QR code, was the URL. And inside the URL was the key, was the flag. And then there was a, what is up with your safari, bro? Worst back salesman ever. So that was fun. And what we found is that,
Get a
And look, it's
PC.
still printing, it's still printing. We're
yeah,
back
hey,
to it.
totally unrelated. Yeah, yeah, I know. So this is where the YouTube video went to. Totally red herring. Don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
don't worry about
Be prepared for red herrings if you play CTF. So the solve was a pretty quick flag once we got that QR code. Yeah, if you explode that, you can see that. Yeah, there you go. So there's the flag. So a quick win. And what we found was many of the puzzles that were in this category were QR based. And so Ghost was another one.
250 points.
250 points, yeah. And so Ghost was another one. I think that one was 300 points.
Yeah, it was similar.
Yeah, so 300 points on Ghost was very similar. They gave you an alphabet, and the exact same way. You broke out your alphabet as a 25 by 25 QR code, and it worked out the exact same way. And in fact, it used the same website. So yeah, so that's the alphabet. That's me parsing out the alphabet. There's a QR code, and you'll notice there's a big line. If you go back to tab, there's a line there at J, which is completely white. Well, that's because it was a 25 by 25 QR code, and how many letters in the alphabet?
26.
Winner, 26. So I had to remove that column J in order for my QR code reader to read it, and then it worked fine.
Mine read it
So,
just fine.
good for you, mine did not. So yeah, so I had to go to that extra step. So yeah, let's pick another one.
Oh, Tetra. How about Tetra?
Tetra, yes,
This
this
is
is
what
good.
we didn't
Yeah,
solve
there you
it.
go, Tom.
So we didn't solve Tetra during the competition, but Monday morning, I like Googled something out of my ass, came up with, it was called Tetra. The text file was called tower.txt, and somehow from that, you're supposed to Google Pyramid Cipher 2013.
Well, Tetra Tower, right? Is
Tetra Tower,
is
yeah.
a three-sided
It's a
object.
three-sided, yeah, it kind of makes a pyramid, so you
It's
Google.
all, but it's also a radio tower.
It's also a radio tower.
Which
There's
works at
also
what
a
frequency?
Tetra, 17.6 hertz,
There
same
you go.
frequency as your
Very low
brain.
frequency.
It's very low frequency, so from that you're supposed to Google Pyramid Cipher 2013, Ben
How'd you
10.
solve that? How'd you know pyramids?
That's what I'm about to tell you.
Alright, I want to know
So, I want to know what love is. So I social engineered it out of somebody. I don't remember who, I don't remember how, but somehow I got introspection. I'm a savant idiot, or at least half
No,
of
that's who you got it from.
this. Oh.
At any rate, so I googled pyramids. Here, let's just Google this live. Pyramid cipher
Secret.
2013.
Oh, because the clue has something about 2013.
2013 in it, and it's like, oh, there's this thing, like you lay out some numbers, you do some stuff, and you get like an answer to that. So I'm like, well, holy hell, I can Google some numbers, I can do some stuff, and so I got this. So I grabbed Ben 10's Pyrex pyramid cipher, and it's like, oh, let's decipher this thing, right? So then I got where is it? What was it called? Tower.txt. So I got this huge number input. I feed it the number to export. It says flag equals why was March hair so important to the Aztecs. I don't know. I'll put that in as a flag. Got a point. Actually, I saw it down on the scoreboard, but the competition was over, so it just told me, yeah, you totally got that, but you got 0 points. And I'm cool with that.
Alright, let's do some reversing ones with Nick.
Oh yeah, it's Nick's turn. You're up, Nick. Here it is. Do you need a screen? Here you go. Do you have HDMI or what do you got? You got all of them.
No, no. So we'll see,
So next up, so Nick here, he's a reversing secret weapon, so there's one challenge that was worth 400 points, 400 points, that, like every time Brandon and I would solve something, we'd be like, hells yeah, we just got it, high fives all around, and then all of a sudden, like there was another group sitting next to us, like all of a sudden we solved another 400 points, they're like, you just got that, where's your high fives? They're like calling us out, we're like, it was virtual, man, we were doing it on, like, meanwhile, this guy right here, solving from Des Moines. Anyway,
Secret weapon.
secret weapon, here you go.
Just hold it. So, Russia, it's a 64-bit executable that contains a
Can you
flag.
make it
have-
bigger?
Can I make it bigger? Probably.
Control plus, control plus. Oh.
That might cut off some of the text, but who cares? Anyway, so you have to give it a flag, and it'll tell you if it's right or not. Here's a video I made of actually doing it. So first we run ltrace to see what's going on. So we can see that it's looking for a 32-bit string. So we'll send it a 32-bit string, and we can see an extra string in it. So what I always do with executables is I stop on the compares, right? So what I'm doing here is just looking for all the compares within it using object dump, or option dump, or whatever you want to call it. And then I just made a GDB command, input file, whatever. I'm gonna screw up on this next part.
This
so
is the
you'll
first
see
time
what-
that Tom and I have seen this.
Yeah, I haven't seen this at all, this is really cool.
I tried to make this go quicker, but you can see I typed something wrong. Anyway.
I always append 32A's in my executables too.
So what we're looking for is this line right here. So this is my first A, and this is the C. So we know that the structure of the flag is C4TF, right? So this tells me that it's comparing the first letter of my string to the actual flag. So what we're going to do from there, I just exited, and I actually pushed play. There we go. So what I did was I set a breakpoint on that instruction right there, and then sent in a C4TF, and then a string match, so it makes it 32 bits, or 32 characters long. And then we can see from there, when I hit that right there with my first period, that's the first character of the string. So I wrote a quick script that's ugly, and I'll let you look at it because it's really ugly. So what it does is it reads that character from the,
Is this Python?
it says Python.
Okay.
It's ugly Python. I
It
don't
works,
write
right?
beautiful code. It works, right?
It's beautiful, I don't care what it says, his babies are beautiful.
So all it does is it reads the address from RDX, or it reads the string from RDX, and then updates the flag, and then sends it back in to keep reading it.
os.system GDB commands. Yep, that's a.
How do you Python?
This is like straight,
Oh,
like on the
oh,
TV
boy.
hacking.
How do you Python with only one import?
I just do it, right?
Really good, that's how.
When you're one
Fucking phenomenally, that's how.
So you know, like on TV, when you hack the password in, it does it like one character at a
Yeah,
time?
that's what he's
This
doing.
guy.
Yeah, this guy.
Right
It's
here.
like TV stump hack.
Yes, thank you. This guy deserves it.
So yeah,
People were on the keyboard at the same time.
at least 3. If you count me as 2.5, so
We do.
my 5-year-old was there too. They pressed enter on that actually, so they hacked this.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Russia, and it was actually pretty simple. So I don't know what these guys struggled with, but
See, this is why you're gonna join us next year.
I can do another one on the 99 problems, which
Yeah,
was,
let's
Yeah,
about
I
this.
wanna see the 99.
well, here's the video.
Give him a little background before we start it.
So one of these, it's called 99 Problems.
Or 100.
400, yeah. It says, trying to roll our own security, no one can break this fantastic security, and the zip file is called the keys to the kingdom.zip, right? So we download it, there's 100 .bin files, which we assume to be encrypted data, and we've got 100 PEM files that when we kind of look at it with OpenSSL, it says that they're public keys. So we got public keys, which if there's public, that means there's gotta be a private, right? But we don't have any private keys, we got a shit ton of public keys, and we got a bunch of encrypted data. So somehow, we've got to get the privates, and with the privates, you can get the decryption, right? And you always need it in life and in CTF, so always keep your privates private. Anyways, here you go.
So, just so everyone translates that correctly, we had a whole bunch of public keys, and we needed to turn them into private keys. Keep that in mind.
Alright, so this was pretty simple. Greatest common divisor attack. So essentially we have a set of keys, of public keys, right? And if anybody knows anything about RSA like I do, because I don't, every public key has a modulus, and that modulus is derived from the product of two prime numbers, right? So if any public key, so if the GCD of the modulus of two keys is anything but relative prime, then it's one of the prime numbers for both of those keys.
Can you say that 3 times fast?
No, I can't, because I still don't understand it myself. So, after some Googling, because that's what I do, I found a script that does that calculation for me. It takes a set of modulus, checks them, and sees if they're anything but relative prime. If they aren't, then it's a weak key. And since we have one of the primes, we can then find the other prime and create a private key. So here's the script in action. This one is sanity check is what it's called. It checks all the keys and sees. Sage is it's a Python thing. It's just for faster math. Yeah. So anyway, it creates a list of modulus or moduli, and these are all the weak keys here. So it went through these, compared one modulus to the other modulus, and if it was anything but relative prime, then it's a weak key and they share a prime. So because of that, we can use another script that I Googled to create the private keys. And then using the bash script, we can just decrypt the .bins with the private keys and get our flag. It's out of order because I didn't want to deal with that. But you'll see. So, anyway, I went too far. Hold on. Here we go. I'll pause at the right one this time. So there's our key. It's out of order, like I said. This is the end, but yeah. So yeah, easy, right?
Yeah, round of applause for that.
Yeah.
So like
That was
literally,
like, she solved it literally within the last 5 minutes of the competition, so we get another 400 points.
How many Python imports did you use?
A couple. Here, so I can actually show you the script. Which I have it right here. Not that one. That one. I gotta find my Windows. Hold on. I use Windows. Exclusively use Windows. This is all Windows. So here is the Python script, which actually takes the two primes and the modulus and creates the public key. It makes sense, right? So this right here is Euclidean algorithm. Yeah. And then this here is the just the bash script that I use to decrypt stuff. Simple stuff.
So for those that didn't get that, you just took all of your public information and turned it into your private and decrypted your secrets.
Math plus Nick
Yeah.
plus Nick equals
I'm more concerned
By
with
math,
private
and that's
than my
pretty
secret.
awesome.
Yeah, I still don't get it. So I just like I said, I used some scripts I found online, which I can
That's
give you guys the links later. I don't know. Let's stop here. That's all.
Do you want to cover Putin, or we just want to say sometimes you just want to send the same
Yeah, let's
flag
just say
to another problem and you get 400
Well,
points.
what-
So,
so-
like a
What
secret
are you
adventure.
on reusing the same flag in multiple challenges?
So it was brilliant and also terrible at the same time, right? Like so there was Russia for 100 points that he eloquently showed you that he solved, and then there was another one called Putin that was worth 400 points that like I still don't understand how he solved it. It was kind of similar, like he used null trace, it did some badness.
So Putin is exactly the same as Russia, the same flag, like Tom mentioned. The problem with Putin is that it was obfuscated, so that the whole program runs with move commands instead of anything that's easily
Skater.
right, obfuscator or something like that, I don't know how you pronounce it. So it's nearly impossible to debug because you can't step through it, right? So what I did is, I just did the same thing that I did with Russia. So I looked at it, it's looking for a 32-bit string. I didn't want to do this live because I know I'm going to screw up.
Who doesn't?
Oh.
Who doesn't do that? I always put that into my binaries that I run unknowingly in Linux.
Right? So we can see here from the first input that it's looking for 32. So the second time, with actually 32 A's instead of 36, there's a second string limit. So what I found, I don't know about you guys.
We didn't find it. All you.
Base 64, Rot 13.
Right.
Rot
So if I
36.
change,
We tried those.
so if I change the first character to a C, we'll see an extra string limit. So that means that it's,
Of course we do.
of course we do, right? See here, you have 1, 2, 3. Here you have 1, 2, 3, 4. So all I did is manually go through and change every character, and
Until it spells out the same key.
until it spelled out the same key. I took some liberties after the fact. I was like, yeah, it's probably the same.
By liberties, you mean fireball?
Yeah. So if we change the first 4 characters to C4TF, we can see that the string length increases, right?
It's kind of like AD with SQL injection, right?
Right, exactly. Right. I don't know what you just said either. So, I wasn't paying attention. So yeah, you can just see how the string length increases as we change it to the right character. And I just manually went through and kind of guessed. About half an hour later, we got.
And then when we look back in history in the Slack channel, see it's the same freaking flag. We all go, son of a bitch. Why didn't we try that first?
Yeah.
So of course we tried that with every
Yeah,
flag.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah, he's not gonna play that game.
Show them one of the gold ones.
All right, so here's a build one. So actually, I want to show you Mac, a Python-based one called MacBot. Sometimes we're competitive amongst ourselves. So
MacBot was all you.
and
I gave you that.
did you give me
Yeah,
that?
I did.
All
I was
right.
like, you
So
give it
just to keep it fun and exciting throughout the entire competition, sometimes like we were 1,000 points in the lead, and Brandon's like, oh, this one looks juicy. They just released it on the scoreboard. I got this because I know exactly what to do, and I'd be like, I'm gonna race you. Right? So like
I
the
won
guys
every time.
except for Mac.
I didn't touch it. I gave you that.
I swear you started, and then you're like, damn it, he's all the way down the path.
That was poker. And then I won that
And then
one.
you won it. Anyway, so Brandon kicked my ass all weekend. He beat me on every single one. Brandon's the man.
Not true.
It's
Except for
true.
this one.
Except for this one, because
Pick
this one, and Pick Me. I have a scar from Pick Me. We're going to talk about that one last.
Scar.
Yeah, you see that? Right there, look, I totally cut myself.
I'll believe
Anyway,
you.
so there was some of these challenges here. I'll just show you on the scoreboard. Can you see this? Oh yeah, you can see this. So MathBot, 150 points, but it's a programming challenge. Basically, the hint was netcat to yolo.circlecity.io on port 9000. Oh no, I'm not doing MathBot. I'm doing MacBot. Yeah,
MathBot.
boy. Yeah, he
I
did
did
Mac, but yeah, he did math. I did Mac because I'm a Mac guy, right? So YOLO, CircleCityCon on port 9002. So if we do that real quick, it says make it bigger. So it says make it bigger. It says answer me who man. Prove your worth to robot kind by answering my challenges. I will give you the first round key. Each next key is a correct result of the last round. The first key is what I call you, who man, right? He just called us who man. The language of the robots is lowercase hexadecimal. And then they give you basically some looks like probably base 64 and says, okay, give me the answer then. We're like, well, the thing's called MacBot, right? So I'm thinking instantly, who doesn't think HMAC, right? HMAC, all the rooms, everybody in the room, HMAC. No one, okay, just me then. So, yeah, so this guy thinks HMAC, he wins, right? So I think HMAC, and I'm like, well, how the fuck do you do HMAC, right? So I Google like HMAC, do I even have, here's HMAC, oh, there's a Python script to do it, right? So then like MD5, I got some stuff, do some things. And I'm like, all right, let's try this. So I figure out HMAC, right? And the first key is whoman. So here, let's just do this like, let's see, Python, and we'll say, I have to do import, let's just do import of HMAC. And then we'll say digest maker of whoman, and I say, digest, let's see, key is whoman, do some things. I got my script, I'm just gonna make it, I wanna get it the password, so at any rate, so I'm grabbing, you just want me to run the script? Who wants me to see?
That's all people care about.
Alright, you wanna see me?
Show them point in the box.
Alright, so let's put on the box. So I wrote the script to do some stuff that does some things, right? And, Mac, clean, that's the one. So it's talking to the server, it's doing these HMACs, it's making some answers, doing some stuff, sending some answers, taking that as an X input, doing it over and over and over and over and over, over again. We're doing this live, by the way. We're actually getting the servers still up. So we're actually doing this over the internet. We're sending an answer, getting the answer, doing the next thing, and boom! Have my robo flag, C4TF. You are my HMAC daddy, baby. That's what I'm talking about. This one was, how many points was this one? 200. Oh, no, that's more.
So,
Totally.
What's
300 points.
300 points.
300
how did he know when to stop?
What's HMAC stand for?
It stands for like doing some crypto.
High
some
message
stuff on the internet.
authentication
Doing that
challenge.
little
Yes,
script
that's
in it. That's what it is.
Yeah, it's called some Python that you Google and then some basic.
Hash-based message authentication code. Okay.
Yeah, so what that is.
Spectre.
Which one's
So,
Spectre?
how,
I got the.
Oh, you guys got it. That one was
Tom, how did you know when to stop this script?
Oh,
Did you, like, have
so
something-
when it's done, it disconnects you from the server.
Oh, okay.
Right, so I just like, I just keep going until the socket doesn't work anymore, and then the thing sec faults, and then, away you go. Spectre, all right, so I probably have these. Yeah, there we go. Spectre agent, so this guy, did you want that one?
Yeah, there's another one too, right? There's two of them. Can you pull them up side by side?
No, it's a Mac.
Can you just pull it off to the left and have it take out the screen like Windows 10 does?
What do you think this is, Windows?
Stop it. All right.
Yeah, you can't do it.
I can totally do it. Look at that. Side by
There you
side.
Can you make it bigger? Oh, that's pretty good. That's pretty good.
All right, all right.
All right, so this was one of the first challenges. This was a 100-point challenge.
Oh, yeah.
And so what you get is a description of this guy, right? Who alias is Skyfall. So we find him on Twitter. He's really Robert. And so it says this man Skyfall, also known blah 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 blah. Whatever. We don't care about any of the rest of that except for his name is Skyfall. And then over here it says Skyfall has noted that he will be available during the day when he can blend into the crowd. Introduce yourself with just the red rabbit running faster than the gazelle. And Skyfall will respond, indeed it does. To which you reply, but does the butterfly drink rainbow, but the butterfly drinks rainbow electricity. Do not say anything else. So, after about 8 hours of walking around the conference looking for this dude, can you zoom in on that dude? Yeah, zoom in on that guy. So I take a picture of the picture, right? And I'm walking around, and I'm comparing it. And I find the dude, and I'm like, he's short. He's short, much shorter than I expected. And to which I do that whole like talky thing, and I don't fuck it up. And he gives me this thing. Actually, he has his son go and run and give me this thing. And inside of the thing,
As with everything else in this category.
do it,
Envelopes.
is a QR code. No one can see that. It's a QR code. So, and it says, what's new, Pussycat? And so we scan the QR code, and then like, boom, a website, boom, the flag. 100 points. Done. It only took me 8 hours.
Right. It's true. These things take time.
Wow.
Now,
You have the code for Rockbot?
for what?
Rockbot.
Rockbot. Yeah, I wrote the pro one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to prove it
The
doesn't
only
have to be
pro
a
one.
Python.
Tom.
Some of us are antiques.
So we brought an old timer with us to CircleCityCon. That one guy, we brought that guy. So he came with us, and we're like, so this is the first one, we're like, we need to connect and interact with this thing. He's like, oh, I've done that once in Pearl, like 10,000 years ago. And it's like one of these, like one of these math problems, right? And so, we're like,
You want Rockbot, 9,000.
oh, Rockbot.
9,000.
Son of a bitch, I don't have that one. No, this is the math.Pearl. Oh, this was my attempt, because then we discovered Pearl does math really terribly, so we rewrote it
very large numbers.
and we rewrote it, and this is the reason why this guy beat me, because I had to write it in 2 languages, while at the same time he wrote it in 1. So,
Because I went to the right one the first time.
some old man led me astray. I'm not gonna mention who,
Or,
So you don't have Rockbot?
but I probably haven't seen
run
it.
that bot.
No, yeah, we'll run that.
Do you have the working math bot? Do you have my math
Unfortunately,
bot?
the MathBot one, they were using
Probably.
really large numbers, and yeah, Perl by default just does certain 2-bit.
Yeah, that's right.
You can do it, you just have to recode it all as object-oriented Perl.
It's in the stuff.
So once again, it can be
What
done.
else we got?
Alright, so the other one that I really wanted, we covered Danzig, yeah, we covered Tetra. Oh, yeah, we covered Tetra, we covered.
You know, all the ones from CircleCityCon and Perl.
Just
oh,
poker
so-
bot works.
So
We have a
PokerBot,
working poker bot.
I do have a working
Yeah.
PokerBot. So PokerBot is another one of these where you have to connect up. And then this one, so it's partially, we did this partially automated, partially by hand. So it's basically a poker bot. So you connect up, you have to do jacks or better, and then it gives you some a card hand. But what's great is, like I say, oh, I want to change all 5 cards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then it's like, okay, here's the replacement cards. What's cool is, like, if you keep connecting to this bot, you say 1, it's like, oh look, same hand, look at that. You know, you connect, 5 times, you get basically only about 3 different hands. So we connected 3 times, we get the same starting hand. So anytime you get the same starting hand, like, every hand it's the same deck. Like, regardless of how many cards you change, like, it's the same deck. Like, their initialization is not so random, right? It kind of sucks. So what we do is, the first thing we did was we created a where's my cards? Yeah, cards up high. So if I do Python cards up high, we're going to connect to the server, and we're going to basically get the hands, replace all the cards. So I'm hitting the server line again. So you see we're getting the same card hand, and we're saying bet 1, and then give me 5 new cards. And so we can see, like, here's the 5 cards you get, here's the next 5 that you could get from, and then we basically dump that out, and we construct the best possible hand, knowing what the next cards in the hand are, right? Like, if I know I've got 2 3s, and the next card that they could deal me out to 3, well, I'm gonna get rid of something else so I can get 3 of the hands, right? So we dumped out about, I don't know, 300 hands worth. 87, yeah, it took 87. We dumped out with this script, like, the next 300 hands. Go ahead.
So would the physical analogy be you basically mapped out the whole deck?
Yeah.
No, well,
No,
not exactly,
the deck,
because
no.
the deck was stupid,
No,
right?
but literally the deck, right? So when you connected and you got the first 5 cards off the deck, it was that deck, right? So the first 5 cards you get, and then you replace all 5, you get the next 5, and then your next hand, 5 cards, right? So it was the same deck all the way through. So we enumerated the deck, and then said, hey, I'm not going to bet anything on this one because my next 5 cards suck. Or I'm going to bet everything on this one because my next 5 cards give me a full house, right?
So then to
Thanks
win
for
this,
this game deal.
oh yeah, and so to win this thing, you had to get to $1 million. So you get started with $1,000, you got to turn $1,000 into $1 million to give you the things with the stuff. And so I was playing on my own. This guy and that guy, James, Mr. Beal, card shark extraordinaire, like savant of playing poker.
I
Like,
don't know how to play poker.
yeah, so Brandon doesn't know how to play poker, but he knows how to get all the cards. James knows how to play poker, but doesn't know how to get the cards. They were working on this one, and so it was a race, right? Like, which one of us could get to $1 million first? They got to $1 million. I got to, like, I don't know, maybe 600,000, right? So they kicked my ass, as they did with everyone.
87 hands.
87 hands later. So we basically dumped all these hands out, and then we just constructed, like, the best possible hand, and then we were just kind of going to the server, playing one, and of course, you make one little mistake, one little syntax error, you have to start over, so it totally sucks, so you gotta like make sure you don't fuck it
We
up.
didn't have to start over.
They didn't,
Single time.
I had to start over because I was on shitty Wi-Fi.
So
So
even
I
on
was-
the infrastructure, Tom.
The infrastructure every time, those guys. So, yeah.
Who
so-
ran that infrastructure?
Well, somebody may have run some cables and did a real sketch.
Oh, please. Yeah, we haven't even talked about
We
that.
didn't talk about it. So there's other aspects of this conference that we won't talk about. Next year, we're gonna be more prepared with, anyways.
Well, next time.
Next conference, so we'll do all the stuff with the things and do the issues. So then the last one, so there was this other one, this is more of this, there's more funny, this is just kind of funny, it's called Pick Me Coach, right? So inside of Pick Me Coach, we get one thing, we get this image, right? This guy right here.
That's our hint.
That's our hint, that's it, that's all we got.
And tell them about the red herring that we found.
Oh, inside, yeah, you tell me.
Yeah, all right. So who knows anything about the file format of PNGs?
I know
I
lots
do.
of things.
Right. Yeah. So PNGs are made out of chunks, and inside your chunks you have the data that actually makes your PNG. So this particular PNG, although its resolution is quite small, has a shit ton of chunks in it. Like that's a 700 kilobyte PNG, and it's not that big. So we're like, oh my god, there's totally stego in here. Let's extract all the chunks, put them out into hexadecimal, convert those into binary. We got the flag, right? No, not at all. As it turns out, the guy that created this challenge has a retina display, and so his resolution is really high, and as a result has a whole shit ton of data inside of that image. It's a great waste of time.
And you don't know this, so like, Wireshark, this is the thing I didn't know, right? Like, I play with Wireshark a lot, but we've got a Wireshark, like, freaking genius here. Wireshark can parse PNGs, right? So, like, you can say Wireshark instead of opening a PCAP, you can say Wireshark, open this PNG, and it will parse the crap out of it. So, that's what we're doing, we're like, basically copy value, paste it, convert to binary. We're looking at like mounds and mounds of binary, thinking that we're seeing something in the image.
700 kilobytes.
700 of each, yeah, it was ridiculous. Because then we're like, this is going to make the biggest QR code ever, right? Because everything else in this category was a freaking QR code. Was this one a QR code? No. So we got this picture of this dude, right? So one of the things, so they kind of had this chill out room, and in this chill out room, there were, I don't know, 24 video game arcade consoles. So when we do a Google image search of this image, it was like, I don't even remember the name, it was like Super Bat Boy.
Bat Boy?
Hold on,
I don't know. It was Bat Boy.
It was called
Japanese baseball.
Ninja Batman Baseball, right? That was the name of the game. And we're like I Google image search this guy, and that game came up, and we looked out there. I'm like, the game is right there, right? So then we go out there. And this is late in the evening, right? And we're like, we have to play the game. So we all went to ThoughtCon a month before, and a lot of these guys that run CircleCityCon are also involved with ThoughtCon. And at ThoughtCon, they actually modified video games to like on the final screen of these games like had the flag, right? So like, crap, we gotta play this thing. It's like old school arcade. It's a 4-player game, so we get 4 of us. Actually, we swapped out a couple of people because somebody didn't have the stamina. And
Which one was that?
My right hand side.
but his wife gladly finished for him.
True.
So we played this game all the way through to the end. We're like, hell yeah, we're gonna get the final screen, we're gonna get the flag, it's gonna
We got
be
our
glorious.
phones out.
We got our phones out, taking pictures of all the things on the end, and doing the stuff with the things, and nothing. It's like, we got to the end, nothing. And we're like, what the hell? So of course, we kind of walk away from the game defeated, and the couple that was playing that ended up getting second and third place, they're like, did you guys get it? Did you guys get the Pick Me game? Because there's that game over there? Like, hells yeah, we did. We fucking rocked that thing. You have to play that game to the end. I'm like, I'll let you know. I'm like, because it still takes some skills. Like, you got to play that thing to the end. Good luck, fuckers. And so then they go over to it. And, you know,
They were just like looking at
they
it.
were just kind of looking at it. Like, we were watching it online and doing the stuff. And everything. Well, so the next morning, so we're like, fuck this shit. Let's go get drunk. Let's go. Like, there's this other kid that we wanted that, like, we were worried, literally, like, he was
Candy cane.
Candy Cane. Shout out to Candy Cane if you're watching in the house, yo. so our goal was like to make sure that kid didn't get any more points because he like jumped up, like he solved the RSA one like in like an hour, right? And like he knew how to do the stuff with the things to do the stuff. And so he solved it. We're like, shit, he's gonna like actually have a legit opportunity to beat us. So my goal Saturday night was to get that guy so trash that he couldn't compete in the competition anymore. So we're like, screw this pick-me guy. Let's go do that. So then the next morning we go down at 8:30. And you know, we start looking at this pick-me thing to make the largest QR code ever out of this crap. And Kane walks in like, he's like lit up, he's like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, how the hell are you still standing? But meanwhile, so Lintile, like after Kane leaves the room, Lintile, the guy that's running the competition, he's like, oh, so Pick-me just got infinitely harder. And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, well, they're wheeling the video games out right now. And I already talked to the guy loading the truck. It's loaded, it's gone. There's no getting access to that game. So he proceeds to tell me about the construct of the game. He's like, Pick-me. He's like, it's called a pick-me. So what we were supposed to do was go to the video game and pick the coin box. And inside the coin box was written on a piece of paper was the flag. I'm like, son of a bitch. And he's like, this game is now too deep inside the semi-truck. And I'm like, so I reach in my laptop bag, I grab my picks, and I book it to the elevator. And I ride down with one of the dudes rolling out the arcade game. I follow him to the truck, and I'm like, dudes, I don't know what it's going to take, but I need access to the baseball game in the very back. Like, what do you need from me? And they're like, well, actually, we don't have any help from the con to help us load our stuff, and we're under a time crunch, so we need some help loading this game. So if you can get guys to help us load, I'll give you all the access you want to that game. I'm like, done. So he pulls out, he like unloads the truck so I can get back to the game, and I'm sitting there holding my cell phone with the light on, trying to do the picks with the one hand while doing the stuff with the things. And I'm like, dude, do you have a key? He's like, oh yeah, I got one right here. And I can pull it out, take a picture, send it to Brandon, and then I'm like, Brandon, you gotta pack up your bag because we're gonna help these guys. You know, I get upstairs, I'm like, meet me in the arcade room. We're gonna help them. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, I just traded our souls for this thing.
Not just our souls.
Not all, yeah.
Collins and Tim's.
So yeah, I'm like, all the guys, like, they need to come here right now. And like, we got their truck loaded up. They're super pleased with us. And apparently, Lintile was impressed because we did something that he thought was impossible because these guys were on a rush. Anyways, so mind you, we were already like something like 1,500 points in the lead. But by golly, I'm going to get 250 points just so that we could say we and nobody else got that flag, right? Because I didn't leave it in the game. I couldn't. Nobody else is going to get that flag. Except I tweeted it out. So on Monday, it was hilarious. So I tweeted it out on Monday. In introspection, this guy right here, he went ahead and saw my tweet, and he went ahead and saw and put the flag in. He saw that he didn't get points for it, but he went ahead and solved it, which I thought was hilarious.
Well, at the closing ceremonies, as you got the black badge around your neck, you're like, oh hey, did somebody want this?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I thought that I'm totally framed. Well, it's so awesome because last year at DocCon there was a challenge that we ended up solving that. I had a playing card with a special writing on it, and they gave me a framed shirt. Now they also gave me we got a shirt after you guys I didn't pick out, but I got a shirt, so I'm going to totally frame it. I'm going to frame this.
So show them Knight Riders.
Oh my God, yeah. Nobody saw Knight Rider, so I bet this guy here in the front row in the red shirt might just have an answer for Knight Rider. So here it is. So I don't know what the hell this is, but I mean, it looks like it's probably a 7-character word, or maybe it's 7 words with 4 characters. I don't know. This is a quote probably by a guy in France, like because there's something about probably in Francais.
Post it to CTF on SecDSM.
Oh, it's out there. So it'll be decode the message and retrieve the flag. So if anybody the hint is Knight Rider, so that means it's not anything about Knight Rider. Even though we turned it sideways and we're like, well, it does kind of go back and forth, with the Knight Rider.
Knight Rider has 8 LEDs.
Yeah, Knight Rider has 8. This one at most has 5 or 6.
Seven.
Yeah, 7, and, oh yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, but yeah, but the highest one has 6. But anyway, so do you guys have any ideas? There might be some math, there might be some science, there might be some, I don't know, it could just be right. We even tried chopping it in half and turning a QR code out of it. We had no ideas, but it's a thing. It'll probably show up next year, so let's solve it now so we just get some easy. What was this one worth? 200 points.
So it should be easy.
Should be easy, right? Because all these are super easy, as I'm sure you realize by now.
The teaser one that Lintal threw out a month or so ago, the only thing I know about it is that it's a QR code as well.
Oh, so Lintal threw out something
Yeah,
altogether.
I threw it in a zip file into Slack. It's got like 1,000 runs at it. If anybody, that's 1,000 pieces of data.
Yeah, well, there are some other ones like square.txt. This one was kind of fun, actually. We could have talked about this one.
I'm not finding it on the SecDSM.
I guess so. Square.txt. You look at this and you can realize that this thing is 34 wide, right? So if there's any websites that you guys want to know about, like my number one is Rumpkin. So this Rumpkin site is awesome because it's got every old school cipher.
What about QuickQuip?
Quippy, that's all right. That one's not bad. If you're doing a signal substitution cipher, you want to do some statistical analysis against an English language, Quippy, that one's a good one. Rumpkin, though, that's like my go-to. Like I see this thing, each line was 34 characters wide. I'm like instantly like, let's rotate this thing by 34 characters. Rotate to the right and erase and out pops like there's your answer, right? C4TF, thank you for purchasing a human. Just little fun stuff like that, because that's what you think about, right? So once you start playing these games, this is the important part, right? Like, I don't know anything about anything, but if I see it long enough, like, when I see something in a challenge, I'm like, oh, it's this, and go do the thing with the stuff, and you get the flag. And so I think most of these CTF things are about building that repository of information that you can draw upon, because you've seen it before. So that's what we do with this stuff.
You still didn't think to try to unzip the MP4.
No, we did. I actually, so without doing that tail 5000, if you do 7 zip,
it gives up?
It gives up. It does. It says no. This isn't an archive. Like that was my first. That's my go-to. Right. I did an exit. I did the thing with the stuff and the things, and then I'm like, oh, let's just 7 zip this thing. Couldn't do it. So you actually had to. So you actually tail end out 5000 and then do the 7 zip trick on it. So sometimes the things that you've tried before and you've seen before don't work. So you gotta just.
I wonder how far 7-zip looks in to try to find a header.
Yeah, I don't know. Not far enough, or it got confused enough by.
That was just a regular N5000, so on a binary file, it's just be like the random last hunk of the file.
Right? Yeah, and it worked. I was really surprised when because you could have done it with a DV with an offset.
Or
just
tail
dash
dash C dash, yeah.
Yeah, no, it just worked great. So, any questions? Any feedback? Any stuff in the thing?
Can you post the Night Rider? I don't see it on the.
Oh yeah.
Slack.
We'll post it. Right.
Cool.
If it's not there, we'll post it again. It's in there's a CircleCityCon's room that might have been posted.
Oh, okay.
And if anything, the login credentials to the scoreboard is still up. And so you guys all ready to do the next CTF? We're gonna get all the stuff with it. So one of the other kind of fun things is we kind of crushed some spirits. After the fact, there's one guy, he works for Southwest Airlines, and he comes up, he's like, what's the next cons you're going to? Because I'm not going to go. Because he started working on this, but we jumped like so far in the lead, like in the first hour. He was like, I just stopped because I knew there's no way I was going to win. So I kind of feel bad about that we crashed his hopes and his dreams, but at the same time.
Is there going to be a bit of a formal concerted effort for Google CTF this weekend?
So this weekend, Google CTF, I can't participate, unfortunately, but if anybody wants to create a SecDSM group, just throw it out there in the CTF room and go hack on the things. I think the top 4 teams get an all-expenses paid trip to Google. So go do some stuff with the things and win some flags, and you might get an all-expenses paid trip to Google.
It's Saturday.
Saturday and Sunday. Actually, I think it starts Friday at like 6 p.m. and goes through like Sunday at noon because it's all like UTF time.
I thought it was only 24 hours.
Yeah, I'm done. You got anything more?
Yeah. Alright, so I do have one thing. Alright, so SecDSM CTF thing, CTF team is like becoming a real thing. So we won a black badge at CircleCityCon, which is this guy, which gives us, the badge holder gets free admittance to CircleCityCon for life. We also have one, thank you Arden, to ThoughtCon, which gives us unlimited access for life to ThoughtCon. So we've been working our asses off, playing these competitions, foregoing effectively a security conference to win these black badges. So we've made a decision, which is when we compete under the SecDSM name, SecDSM, the nonprofit organization, is the badge holder. SecDSM will use these black badges to send a deserving person to the conference for free. So, if you want to go to a con for free, help out with CTFs, maybe go to a con for free. So, this one, the CircleCityCon, because Nick helped out from Des Moines so goddamn much, he had to leave, he's going to CircleCityCon on SecDSM's dime for free. So, that's a huge deal, right? So we're talking about sending SecDSM members to cons, we'll pay your ticket. So, I think that's pretty good.
Big hand for Nick.
Yeah, Nick.
Speaking of CircleCityCon,
Yeah.
half price.
So CircleCityCon, right now, if you buy a ticket, is $75. $75. I don't know what the site name is. CircleCityCon.com/ I don't know. Anyway, go if you want to go to CircleCityCon, which by God's mean go to CircleCityCon because it's a badass conference. There are quite a few first timers that went to CircleCityCon this year, and I see them wearing CircleCityCon shirts, so I think that's a good sign.
I'm the marketing guy. Hi, what's up? So, SecDSM, I understand, like CircleCityCon, it's like, yeah, I gotta drive out to Indianapolis, get a hotel, that's like $1,000. We will help you split that. We have freaking 10 people to go out every year. So that's the whole point why we're here. You guys wanna go out, get experience at a con, CTF, we will teach you, train you, take you out, you'll have the time of your life. Go with us. That's why we're here.
Yeah. So.
Speaking of going on the cheap, so I went out this year. It cost me gas mileage to Iowa City. That's where I hooked up with some of the other guys that drove me out, and meals. I taught a little 4-hour class to get my entrance, and then shacked up with other people and rode out with them. Yeah! 2 cons, slept with 2 strange men, but hey, whatever.
So we've got one coming up to GurCon. We've got 5 people right now that are room sharing. I've got an Airbnb that fits 8 people, and I've got a Suburban that will fit 6 very comfortably. I've got room for 1 more.
What's GurCon?
GurCon is October 26th and 27th. So you have to pick for what conference you want to go to though. So GurCon overlaps by 1 day by Wild Wild West Hacking Fest, which is in Deadwood, South Dakota. So my suggestion, I'm going to GurCon, you should join me. Tom is going to Wild Wild West Hacking Fest, so if you haven't looked at Wild Wild West Hacking Fest, it's like a stump hacking conference. So like if you want to pwn the things and make yourself look cool, go to Wild West Hacking Fest. If you want to have real world experience with forensics, go to GurCon.
If you want a kick-ass lineup, first in the world ever, con, security con, no other lineup like it, go to Wild Wild West Con because the CTF is going to be badass. Tom and I are going, so that's like
right here?
1,000%. And SecDSM is going to be there, so I mean that's no contest.
We're
Anyway.
also next weekend, the weekend of the 23rd. There's B-Sides, Minneapolis, and BurCon. Wild West Hacking Fest CTF is getting premiered up there, so you bet your ass we're gonna go knock the shit out of that, so we get a head start in October. So these guys over here trying to win the GurCon thing, where they only could get to 3rd place.
I got it.
Well, we're gonna go kick the shit out of Wild West.
Wild West, if you guys know who Armjoy is, Sub-T, Maddie, I mean, pretty John Strand, pretty much every stand instructor ever did Kennedy. Pretty much anyone that's anyone is at Wild West, and this is the first year for this con, so there's going to be a lot of elite first-time swag there that you can't get anywhere else. So,
I got some. Alright, last year, one of my buddies got a black badge at Burcon. We're trading benefits. Fuck all of you.
Alright. Anyway, so join the Slack.
Was that
Participate
on the
in
live
CTF.
stream? Yep.
What's that?
That was on the live stream.
3 seconds.
so who here has not done CTF? Probably about, yeah.
Besides,
If you don't know how to CTF, we'll teach you. It's not hard. You just have to know how to append 32 A's to every binary. There's a lot of tricks to CTF. It's not difficult. If you like problem solving, puzzles, CTFs are where it's at.
Alright, that wraps it up. Grab beer while you can. See you guys.